My husband did something last year that completely surprised me. He traded his smartphone for a flip phone, and I have to tell you, the difference has been remarkable. He's noticeably present in our conversations, more engaged during family time, and less distracted at work. And he's genuinely more relaxed. And when asked why he made the switch, he'll tell you that he felt liberated from the constant pull of notifications and checking his phone dozens of times every hour. And when I shared my husband's surprising switch, I started hearing similar stories from people in my circle where a few others had done the same, and many were tempted but couldn't quite commit. And then I discovered something fascinating. There's an entire movement of Brooklyn Gen Z youth doing the exact same thing. And they call themselves Luddites, a term I'll explain in a moment. And what they're learning about focus and human connection, it's the same skill that's making some professionals stand out and get promoted while others stay stuck. Stay with me because this connects to your workplace in many ways that you might not expect. I'm Trina Boos, CEO of Boost Academy of Excellence. I train emerging leaders on workplace skills that actually get you promoted. Let's dive in. So let me tell you about Logan Lane. In 2019, she was a high school student in Brooklyn, New York, frustrated with how her smartphone dominated her attention and social life. So she did something totally radical. She traded her iPhone for a flip phone and started gathering with like-minded teens in Prospect Park every Sunday. And they called themselves the Luddite Club, which was a nod to 19th century workers who smashed industrial machines. Though today's Luddites resist technology that they believe harms human connection. They'd meet to read books by authors like Vonnegut, and they'd sketch and they'd paint, and most importantly, they'd connect face to face without any digital distractions. And what started as a small rebellion has now spread to colleges across the United States. Schools like Oberlin, Temple University, cities from Seattle to West Palm Beach. The New York Times recently followed up with these students 3 years later, and they found that many of them were still maintaining their low-tech lifestyle into college. Logan recognized something profound. When we're constantly performing for an online audience, we lose the ability to be genuinely present with the people right in front of us. And in the workplace, that genuine presence is what builds trust and relationships and ultimately career opportunities. These are the Gen Z students, the last generation that you would expect to reject digital connectivity. And they recognize that their relationship with technology was shaping their identities in ways they did not want. So I'm seeing this in my own family too. My daughter hosts monthly crochet meetups where teens gather to create with their hands, no phones in sight. And all of my kids have regular board game hangouts with friends. And what strikes me is that none of this feels forced. They're genuinely wanting to enjoy this tangible connection that these activities provide. This small underground movement fascinates me because it signals something so important. It's this fundamental need to connect authentically. And when we move away from digital distractions, we create space for the very practices that build professional presence. Focused attention, active listening, meaningful small talk, genuine relationships with colleagues. And what strikes me is that this niche group of young people, the generation that grew up with smartphones in their hands, is now modeling something that the rest of us can learn from. They're deliberately practicing in-person communication skills that many of us have let diminish. And here's the thing, in workplaces where many of us are half present, constantly checking notifications and multitasking through meetings, the person who shows up fully engaged becomes immediately noticeable, and that's a significant career differentiator. The goal isn't technological abstinence, it's technological intentionality. And you don't need to throw away your smartphone, you just need to control when and how you use it. But remember that when you check your phone while someone else is talking to you, you're sending a message and it's not a good one. You're saying whatever is on this screen is more important than you are. And that's not the reputation you want to build. And the professionals who do this well, they're the ones building the reputations and relationships that lead to promotions. So let me give you 2 concrete Luddite-inspired practices that you can implement immediately in your professional life. First, practice technological intentionality. If you lead meetings, designate them as device-free zones where all phones are placed face down or in a basket at the door. And if you don't lead meetings, be the first person to put your phone away. You might be surprised to see people following your lead. I've seen teams do this, and the quality of conversation transforms immediately. And also create deep work hours on your calendar when notifications are turned off and colleagues know not to expect immediate responses. Block out maybe 2 hours, put your phone in another room, and watch your productivity soar. And second, prioritize authentic human connection. When a colleague is speaking, you're going to give them your full attention rather than half listening while checking emails. Your brain cannot effectively multitask, and that's neuroscience, it's not opinion. So for complex or sensitive topics, choose in-person conversations over text-based communication, and walk down the hall instead of sending another Slack message. The relationship building that happens in those 3-minute conversations is career gold. Here's what I've observed. The professionals who master this balance, who use technology strategically but prioritize human connection, they're the ones getting promoted, and they're the ones building the relationships that open doors, and they're the ones that people actually want to work with. The Luddite movement is not asking us to return to the Stone Age. It's asking us to be intentional and to recognize that our relationship with technology shapes not just our productivity, but our identities, our relationships, and our career trajectories. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one meeting this week, just one, and leave your phone at your desk. Notice what happens. Notice how differently people respond to you when you're fully present. And that's the start of building a reputation as someone who's worth promoting. Now, if this episode resonated with you, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, share it with anyone that you feel needs to hear it. And if you want to dive deeper into having these conversations, check us out, boostacademyofexcellence.com. You can explore our courses, our workshops, and if you need to reach out, I'm here. Thank you for listening. Now go be present with someone who matters. I'll see you in the next one.